Good morning, elementary lizards. We're going to do mental math. So you need to have your paper and your pencils. I've got my trusted clipboard. I hope you've got one. And be ready, because I'm going to read you some story problems for mental math. You're going to think about the problem, listen carefully, record the problem, and then pause the video, write down the problem and solve it on your paper, and then come back and watch the video, restart it, and you'll see Mr. T will give you the solution. And then you can see if you got it right and see where you got it wrong if you didn't get it right, so you could learn. And that's really why we're here, is to learn how to do these mental math problems and do the best we can. So here we go. First problem. Gina and Raul were playing Math Blaster. After the first game, Gina had 146 points and Raul had 162 points. How many more points did Raul have? Pause the video. And here's the solution. Gina had 146 points. Raul had 162. Raul had 162 points. And we want to find the difference between what these guys had. So we have to do subtraction, put my equals line. Now notice, I've got my units in the unit place in line. I've got my tens in the tens place in line. I've got my hundreds in hundreds place in line. And I have to do a subtraction. Well, can I take 6 units away from 2 units? No, I can't. Where can I find some units? Right in the tens. So I exchange 1 10 for 10 units. I now have 12 units. I take away 6 and I have 6 units. I have 5 tens left. Can I take 4 tens away from 5 tens? I sure can, and I have 1. 100 away from 100? 0. Do I put a 0 there? Wouldn't mean anything if I did, right? So the answer is that Raul has 16 points more than Gina. Remember, story problems always have to have a word in the answer. Hope you got it right. If you didn't, please look carefully at this and see what was wrong so you can learn. Next problem. This is for astronomers. The computer has a planet game. Each time you reach Pluto, Pluto is no longer a planet. Let me start over. The computer has a planet game. Each time you reach Pluto, you get 140 points. For reaching Jupiter, you get 75 points. How many more points is Pluto worth? Stop the video. For reaching Jupiter, you get 75 points. And for reaching Pluto, you get 140 points. We want to know the difference between those 2 points, so we have to subtract. Equals line. Ooh, can I take 5 units away from 0 units? I cannot. I can take a 10, leaving me 3 here, 10 units. 10 units, take away 5 units, is 5 units. Mr. T's not that good on writing backwards like this, so you guys have to just be with me, okay? Now, can I take 7 tens away from 3 tens? Nope. Where can I find some tens? Well, I can take that 100, that'll leave me 0 there, and I can exchange it for 10 tens. Now I have 13 tens, I take away 7 tens, and I have 6 tens, 5 units, 65. So we know that Pluto is worth how many more points than Jupiter? 65 points. Hope you got it right. If you didn't, learn what you did wrong. Next question. Ooh, this is one of those tricky ones. James Fenimore Cooper wrote the book The Last of the Mohegans. That's an American classic. In 1757. He wrote this book made a mistake. James Fenimore Cooper wrote the book The Last of the Mohegans to be set in 1757, but he wrote the book in 1995. How many years earlier was the setting of the book than the date when he actually wrote it? That's a tricky one, so I'll read it again to you. James Fenimore Cooper wrote the book The Last of the Mohegans to be set as in 1757. He wrote this book in 1995. How many years earlier was the setting of the book than when he actually wrote it? So pause the video. We want to know the difference between the date that he wrote the book, which is 1995, and the year that the book was set to have taken place in, the story, and that was 1757. So if I want to know the difference between two numbers, what mathematical operation do I need to do? I need to do subtraction. And I always need to put an equal sign. And remember, line up your place values. Can I take 7 units away from 5 units? I cannot. But I can get 10 units right here. And I now have 15. So that gives me 8. I have 8 units, 8 tens, take away 5, and I get 3. I'm sorry about the dog in the back, but that's Luca, our dog, and he's barking at a squirrel. Sorry about that. So can I take 7 hundredths away from 9 hundredths? I sure can. I get 2. Can I take 1,000 away from 1,000? Yes, and I get 0, but do I put a 0 there? No, I do not. So the answer is that James Fenimore wrote the book The Last of the Mohegans 238 years after the book was set, the story was set. Hope you got that one right. Dates are tricky. We need subtraction to find the difference between dates. When the books were counted, there were 24 math books in the classroom and 212 reading books. How many more reading books were there in the classroom? Now notice, when the books were counted, there were 24 math books and 212 reading books. How many more reading books were there? We need to know the difference between those two numbers, right? So that means subtraction, right? Well, you may recall from our lessons that we always put the big number, and the big number is called the minuend, and the minuend here is the big number, 212. And we take away from the big number in subtraction the smaller number, which is the subtrahend. Say that, subtrahend. Remember these labels? And it's a subtraction problem. Same problem. It's dynamic. Can we take 4 units away from 2 units? No, we cannot. But I can get a 10 over here and make that into 10 units, and I get 12 units, take away 4 units. My remainder is 8. Uh-oh, that old 0 problem. Can I take 2 tens away from 0 tens? Cannot. Where can I get a 10? Some tens? I've got 2 hundredths, and 100 is the same as 10 tens, so that 2 hundredths becomes 1, and my 0 tens now becomes 10 tens. Can I take 2 tens away from 10 tens? I sure can. 8. I still have 1 in the 100 place. Got nothing here to take it away, so that 100 comes right down here. So how many more reading books were there? 188 books. Well, I think that's enough really good brain work for you guys today. And so lizards, this is Mental Math, our first class, Mental Math number 1, and I'll see you again next Monday. Thanks for being with me. Mr. T out.